What's up, guys? User here with all the new NCAA Madden talk. I wanted to take it to a different direction here. I recently went back and revisited Maximum 2020, and I just want to go into detail about the generational fumble that was that game's source code. It was purchased by Maximum Entertainment, I believe sometime shortly after Canuck Play and the original creators kind of like disbanded, and it became what we now know as Maximum Football 2023, which then had it pushed back to 24, which then entered beta, which then entered 1.0 on PS5 and the Xbox, and is now in MPL 2.0 and essentially has killed its fan base completely. I want to talk about some elements of this game. Although it was far from perfect as a video game and especially a football game, some of the things that were on the cusp of greatness that the current Maximum Entertainment just walked away from. And I can't even fathom that they did this. Let's get into it.
I don't think you can really talk about gameplay in a football game if you're not going to talk about physics, which is why I am pleased to announce that Maximum Football 2023 is a physics-based football game.
So these clips you're seeing here are from Maximum 2020, an actual physics-based football game. I'm not exactly sure what got lost in the translation between the old game engine and then moving to Unreal Engine, but this stuff never translated. Even in the current builds of Maximum Football, you don't see anything close to what's taking place here. They talked about going to Unreal for the game fidelity to look better, but what they had already was an organic system that they could have just built upon. The game itself was missing tons of just basic logic and animation. If they could have just cleaned that up in a 3 or 5 year span, the game could have looked better and played much better based off of David Winter's original code. It's also stated that they threw away all of the assets and gameplay animations from Maximum 2020 and re-recorded thousands of animations, which realistically I would say only a small percentage of them ever actually saw the live game to this point in 2026. The game needed to be cleaned up just with the receivers and the DBs, the user control. They needed to add stiff arms, truck sticks, and just some other basic elements to the game. Instead, they chose to throw all of that away, start from scratch, and ultimately get in over their heads to where they actually built a game. They were unable to even develop the basic concepts they talked about in 2023. They massively downgraded the offensive formations as well. We used to have access to a T formation, wishbone, pistol sets, that kind of stuff in Maximum 2020 that never made it to the current build of the game. Defensively from 2020, they removed a ton of 3-4 and 4-3 sets. The 46 base is gone. A ton of this nickel stuff never made it into 2023 and beyond either. Although there were less plays in the playbooks, you had more formations to play with as well, and you could also go into the playbook editor and edit your own plays. A lot of this stuff in 2020 had purpose. There were specific blitzes to call, zone blitzes. You had basic formations that basically were good for personnel matchups. You had multiple ways to attack offenses in this game, and in 2025 they basically wiped all of that out. Here you can see in 2025 I'm running the base 4-3 defense. I have access to a nickel, this 3-2 dime, a 3-0 dollar, which was terrible, and a goal line defense. I mean, you have 5 total formations here to battle these offenses, which have way more tools to kind of beat you in this game. So you tone this down from 2020 and essentially get rid of all of these other ways to create, advantages for your team on defense. It basically handicaps you. You don't have the ability to shift or do any A-gap mug stuff. It's just restricted to this very limited palette of basic defensive formations, and then their way of making up for that was to convolute it with all of this fluff that I never call. The best part would be in 2020, I could go in and edit these things, and not only could I use it, but the AI had access to more advanced play calling, logic, and those kind of things if I put it in the playbooks. Unfortunately, you can't do that in 2025, and they're just stuck with these limited playbooks where the AI can't audible or do really anything to challenge you as the player. And here's something you'll never see in 2025 and beyond, is how you could actually kill someone and dislodge the ball, because of the physics engine. One of my favorite things about 2020 is how these receivers had to fight through these jams, and how the defenders would get hands-on even downfield. You see so many of these small little details reaching out and initiating these jam coverages, which help in coverage, and a lot of these games just simply don't have this feature. NFL 2K5 and 2K8 did this really well at a high level, which it's really hard to mimic, but this game came close. Here's a couple examples of the AI having access to a truck stick, which the user control doesn't give us for some reason. But if they could just have added a couple of stiff arms, better juke animations, I feel like this game would be at the same spot, if not further ahead in its run game than what the current iteration of Maximum is. Even with all of its flaws, Maximum 2020 is one of those games that's going to go in a lot of people's vaults and be something they just pull out and play every few years because of the physics. They're so fun to play around with. A lot of this game is just so close, but just didn't have enough time to cook before it was released to the masses. Unfortunately, I think it'll outlast the current iteration of Maximum Football just because it just has a special place in people's hearts and has the soul that the current builds do not have. For an indie game, like I said, it's just fun to tinker around with the playbook editor and a few other things. But I just wanted to talk through this game, and just if anybody else is able to buy this code, just listen to the community, and this would be something like a project or some sort of mod that would turn into a really special thing, in my opinion. It's your boy User. I'm out.